A TalkSport pundit goes in on two players and their performance against Aston Villa. Suggestions that Frank got the midfield balance wrong against the Villains. A rundown of Thomas Frank's post-match press conference. And Van de Ven gives an honest assessment of his teammates. Here are your daily Tottenham news headlines. Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name's Craig and here are your daily Tottenham news headlines where I'll be going through all the latest news, rumours and reports. If you're watching on YouTube and are not already as yet subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. Like, share and comment below. And if you're listening on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. Okay, well, all the reports today are about our match against Aston Villa, so let's get into it. Give Me Sport report pundit and former Tottenham Hotspur midfielder Jamie O'Hara has slammed a pair of Spurs players for their performances in the club's latest game. Starting against Villa for Tottenham were attacking duo Wilson-Odobert and Matisse Tel, two players that O'Hara criticised after the full-time whistle. Tel retained his place in the starting lineup after scoring a goal against Leeds before the international break, whilst Odobert has developed into a consistent part of the first team under Thomas Frank. O'Hara asked why both had played against Villa, against whom they created little. He then stressed that Tottenham need their home form, which ranks among the worst of any Premier League team. It needs to be a million times better. Both Tel and Odobert are still young players, and as other options in Tottenham's squad, such as Randall Kolo-Muani, reach full match fitness, it may benefit both if they find themselves rotated more from the first team, with expectations perhaps being less heavy. Either way, the impact or lack thereof that Tel and Odobert had against Villa was too obvious, in O'Hara's opinion, to ignore. Give Me Sport state that multiple Tottenham players have been criticised in the wake of the loss against Aston Villa on Sunday, and while they might have combined for the opening goal of the game, neither Bentancur or João Palhinha had games to remember against Villa. The pair have been Frank's preferred midfield pivot in recent games, with Pat Matasar having to settle for a spot on the bench alongside fellow midfielders Archie Gray and Lucas Bergvall. But while both midfielders add defensive stability, they can leave much to be desired when it comes to going forward. That proved to be the case against Villa, where, after combining for the first goal, their influence gradually decreased. Although he grabbed the opening goal of the match, Bentancur really didn't create much of note, playing just one key pass and registering an expected assist total of 0.01. And Palhinha, while he helped create Spurs' only goal, is much more of a disruptor, and he struggled to help propel the likes of Mohamed Kudus, Javi Simons and Wilson-Odobert forward. Frank's decision to play a very defensive midfield partnership has angered parts of the Spurs fan base, who took to social media following Sunday's defeat to vent their frustration. One supporter said, "The insistence of Palhinha Bentancur is utterly baffling. We're driving with the handbrake on. It makes no sense." Another added, "Another week of Bentancur and Palhinha is a sackable offence." Others believe that the 2-1 loss is squarely in Frank for his choice to start the pair together against Villa, and that the decision to persist with them is impacting results. This result is 100% on Frank, so tired of Bentancur and Palhinha and waiting to make changes until it's already too late. Cowardly, one fan said, while another tweeted, "We should never start Bentancur and Palhinha together at home. It's doing my head in. These drop points are on Frank." Considering that both Sarr and Bergvall offer more going forward, it might be time for Frank to drop one of Bentancur or Palhinha for a more attacking option. A different player would allow Spurs to be more free-flowing, giving them the chance to put the teams to the sword when they are there for the taking. In Thomas Frank's post-match press conference and interviews, he stated that he felt the game unfolded as expected, an even match against a strong Aston Villa side, well set up by Unai Emery. The team performed well overall, showing good intensity, pressing and defensive discipline, allowing very few chances and a low XG. Despite dominating in spells and creating several good transition opportunities, we lacked the final touch in attack. 2 moments of individual quality from Villa made the difference in a 2-1 loss. He described the performance as good but not outstanding, noting improvements needed in offensive transitions. He believes it could have been a draw or even a win with slightly better finishing. On Javi Simmons, he said the young player showed good intent and pressing, but is still adapting to a new club and country. Overall, an average plus performance with confidence in improve. He also mentioned substitutions but were delayed due to a set-piece situation, and overall he was satisfied with the fans' support and team effort despite the result. When asked if Christian Romero would be back for Wednesday's match against Monaco, he stated, "I don't know. He could be. He couldn't. I just don't know." Football.London report that Mickey van der Ven has criticised his Tottenham teammates and believes that the attacking players should have created more chances during Sunday's 2-1 defeat against Villa. Speaking to Sky Sports post-match, van der Ven said, "I don't think we did enough. If we'd done enough, we wouldn't have lost this game. I don't think we gave too much away. They scored 2 goals from outside the box, but I think we can also create more for ourselves. We always give 100% to the fans and the club and everyone." Tottenham suffered a major injury blow moments before the game as Christian Romero pulled up in the warm-up and was forced to withdraw from the starting 11 with Kevin Danso taking his place. "We knew that he was a doubt during the week already," van der Ven said on Romero, "but of course it's always bad when he pulls out in the warm-up. But I think Kevin came in and did really well." Adding on Romero's condition, Frank said in his post-match press conference, "Minor abductor injury. He felt a little bit in the past few days. We expected him to be fine, but he wasn't. I don't think it's too big." There were 2 big teams on the pitch, he added, reflecting on the result. "We started very well. Villa produced 2 goals out of nothing, and we had 4 or 5 moments where we couldn't produce. If you told me before the game that these players will be shooting from these positions, I'd have said happy days." Okay, well, here's my thoughts on all those stories today. Let's face it, all the stories are about the game against Aston Villa at the weekend. Firstly, Jamie O'Hara going in on Tell and Odegaard. I've seen this a lot on social media, actually. Fans going in on Odegaard and Tell, saying that they didn't produce enough. I do have to agree. I would expect more from them. They seem to be ripping it up at under 21 level for France and just generally score goals, play well when they're on international duty. But obviously the Premiership, Premier League, shall I say, is a completely different kettle of fish. I want to see more from Odegaard and Tell. But look, we're trying to replace Harry Kane and Heung-min Son in those 2 positions, essentially. And with Dominic Solanke out and Randall Colomwani literally only coming back for the game in the last 15 minutes, it's asking a lot. It's asking a lot for these 2 young players to step up, because we're always going to liken them to Sonny and Kane, essentially, because we remember how good they were. And it's probably a bit unfair, but I wasn't impressed with either performance, to be honest. Odegaard did have moments. I don't think Tell's the answer in number 9. I'm not sure what his best position is. But there's one thing for sure. We lack so much going forward, and I include Javi Simmons in that. O'Hara's obviously talking about Tell and Odegaard here, but I want to see more from Javi Simmons. But Javi Simmons is a young player, new to the league, as Thomas Frank said. But he's got to try and step up now, because he's our creator-in-chief. He should be creating everything for us going through the middle, and it's just not working for him at the moment. So I don't think it's a case of that Javi Simmons is going to get dropped perhaps anytime soon, because Frank's got to persist with him, because I'm not sure who else you put in the number 10 or another decent option without Kulusevski and Maddison. And obviously both those players are still out injured. So we're kind of stuck at the moment with that number 10 role. But the wingers, the left wing position, I still think that's massively up for grabs, and somewhere we should have done business in the summer, in my opinion. The striking option been a bit unlucky with Randall Colomwani because of his dead leg. I think he would have got a lot more game minutes had that injury not come to pass. And we've been really unlucky with Solanke, but hopefully he's on his way back. I think this team's a lot different if Solanke's there. I don't think we'll appreciate how good Solanke is in certain situations, and we haven't seen him in a Thomas Frank team yet. So let's hope that Solanke can get back soon. But that left wing position for me is still an issue, and is going to be an issue until we fill it. But get down in the comments, let me know what are your feelings on those 2 players and that left wing position. I totally agree with this about Palhinha and Bentancur. I think there's a time and a place for these 2 players, perhaps in a Champions League away game or a tough away game. I think that pivot would work well, where we're not going to have as much possession and we need players that can just sit in there and do a job, break down play and compact the midfield. But at home against Villa, and let's face it, Villa haven't started the season brilliantly. We should be looking to just go at Aston Villa. And I think if you'd had somebody with a bit more forward thinking in that midfield and just left, say, Paulinho in there on his own as the defensive midfielder, I'd have loved to have seen Bergvall in there, or even Sarr. But certainly Bergvall. I think Bergvall and Javi would have been a completely different game. But it's a bit more pragmatic from Frank, and that started to grate at me a little bit. I just don't think we should be persisting with Paulinho and Bentancur at home in a match like the one against Villa, because I think it would have been completely different. I don't think we needed a double pivot defensive midfield partnership there. And yeah, Bentancur got forward, scored the goal, and they combined actually to score our goal. And it would have been a completely different game had Kudus' disallowed goal not been disallowed, but he was offside. But didn't come to pass, did it? And I just think it leaves us short with options. And I agree that Frank sometimes leaves it too late to make substitutions. I'm not having it that he said in his press conference that it was a situation, the play basically, a set piece situation means they couldn't have made the substitute. That was only 3 or 4 minutes. Those players were standing there. He could have made a change at half time. He could have made a change before the 60-minute mark, 100%. I just want to see us make changes. That's what I did like about Mourinho. If things were going wrong or he needed to tweak things, Jose would have changed it in the first half. He'd make early substitutions. I wasn't a massive Jose fan, but I do like to see managers that make changes early on. Ange never really made changes like that either. So, yeah, I just think Frank did get that wrong for me. I don't think we needed Paulinho and Bentancur in the middle of the park. But get down in the comments, let me know your thoughts on that. Do you think Frank got that wrong? Do you think that is totally on him? I do agree with Thomas Frank, and he said Javi's adapting to the league. Young player. He's quite a slight player, Javi. So he needs to bulk up a little bit and get a bit more tough, I think, especially in that number 10 role. He's going to get clattered and kicked. I would just want to see a bit more creativity from him. We know he's got it in the locker, but he had very few. I don't think he had any successful dribbles at the weekend against Villa and didn't win many of his duels at all. So I just want to see, perhaps it'll be different. If he's got the likes of Solanke or a Randall Cullen in front of him, he'll have a player he can pick out passes and they can run the channels. It might be a bit different, but as I say, perhaps with Tell, that's just not clicking at all, or even Richarlison. Just not working for Javi. I think he's got 1 assist from a corner at the moment, so just want to see more from him. Would be good to have Christian Romero back as well. It was a bit worrying that he went off, didn't even start, did he? He was replaced, injured during the warm-up. Club obviously thought that he was going to be okay, but he clearly wasn't. Probably a good thing, because if knowing Christian Romero, he would have played, and then it would have been a million times worse. What has annoyed me slightly with Tottenham, and the way Thomas Frank would say, perhaps this is just about not wanting to give anything away in press conferences, but when he said things are a slight niggle or a small injury, and they turn out they haven't been, like we all thought Solanke wouldn't be out as long as he is, and he's been out like months. I just hope this isn't the case with Romero. I hope this is just a small thing, as Thomas Frank says, and Romero can be back for the Monaco game. Not 100% convinced, if I'm brutally honest, but let's hope Romero does come back and captain us against Monaco in the week. And Van der Ven was absolutely right in what he said in his press conference or his interview with the club. We didn't do enough. We didn't do enough against Villa. It was a good chance for us to push up that league table. In fact, with yesterday's results as well, with United beating Liverpool, we would have been second. And that is the one thing that frustrates me the most about Tottenham. When the chance is there, when the door is open, we never, ever walk through it. So many times I can remember from the past where we've had a chance to either go top, to go second, to go third, or get into the top 4, or open up a gap. We've got that opportunity, funnily enough, invariably at home from memory, and we don't step through that door. We don't take the chance. And that seems to be a recurring theme with this club. We don't take those chances. We've dropped so many points over the years from not doing that, and where we put ourselves in good positions and we don't finish it off. And is that a mentality thing? I don't know, but it just winds me up that we just can't do it, and it's consistent. It's consistent. I say we would have been second, we'd have been up there, and we just didn't take that opportunity. Personally, I still think this squad needs a fair bit of work. I still think players need to go out. I still think we need certain positions. The positions in the team and players playing in those positions are not strong enough. We could definitely do a lot better. I just hope Enoch and the club are working now. We've got Langer and Paratici in place that they can get their heads together and get us some players in this January transfer window. We all know it's hard in January, but we definitely need reinforcements, especially for me, in certain attacking positions, creativity. I think it's important we get Solanke and Kulusevski back as soon as possible. I think that would make a huge change and be a real big boost. I know it's a cliche, but it will be like having two new players because they haven't really played at all this season. So it will be good, but I think we all underestimate just how much we miss Sonny and Kane. And people don't like me talking about that and players of the past, but we just remember how good they were. Imagine a top of their game, well, Harry Kane's still top of his game, but a 2021 version of Sonny and Kane in this team. You know, Sonny on the left, Kane up front. I think we're in a different league position totally. But as I say, we haven't got those players anymore, and we have to work with what we've got. I just want to see more from the players that are in this squad. And I just see nobody grasping the net and taking that opportunity. I guarantee Thomas Frank still doesn't know his best starting 11, and that's a bit of a worry. And I've seen this in games so far this season. I've been worried about certain situations. There's certain red flags cropping up, but let's see how we do against Monaco. And then it's a trip away to Everton at the weekend. So the games are going to be coming thick and fast, big games. We simply have to get results in these games. Anyway, that's all from me today. Get down in the comments and let me know your thoughts right now as a Tottenham Hotspur fan and anything I've discussed in this video today. And as always, come on you Spurs.